Hey Judith,
Hello there, how are you?
pretty good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. I think we're all trying to do the best we can during this time,
Yep. At least we have sunshine today. That feels good.
right? And I get to visit with you, and
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. Well, it's really good to hear a voice and see a face, even if it is through a screen.
I know it's the first time I put on lipstick in about 3 weeks. That's a big deal.
Wow. This is a special occasion.
And truthfully, there's no shame anymore. There's no shame anymore. I took a shower for the first time today
Yeah.
in 3 days.
This,
But I am brushing my teeth like hell because I don't want to have to go to the dentist 3 times a day, like they told you you were supposed to, and you never did. That's
right.
yeah, hmm
Wow.
yeah.
The things we're learning about ourselves over
I
this.
know, I
Uh,
know,
oh my God, that's great.
I know that this is
Uh,
we're all sharing.
we're all in this together,
I
right?
know.
Well, I appreciate you agreeing to come on and do this thing. It's been a lot of fun chatting with artists, and the idea behind this project was to talk with artists about the art that they live with, and as a fellow artist, the relationships that we get to have and the people we get to meet
Right.
is really kind of at the core for me at why we've chosen the path that we have to do what we do. So for those of you watching, Judith G. Levy is a really great artist. She had a show at the Art Center last summer. It was about a year ago coming up.
Right. Right.
It's really great multimedia artist
Thank you, Ben.
here in Lawrence and Kansas City. But um, yeah, what are you going to share with us today?
Well, I have a friend, a fellow artist. Her name is Caroline Rothwell, and she lives in Sydney, Australia,
Mhm.
and she works in sculpture and two-dimensional work and public art. And I think her work is really interesting, and I'm going to read a very short paragraph about her work because it'll be more succinct than if I try to go on now about the work. And then I'm going to show 3 small pieces that I have of hers. And let me show one so that there's some context. Let's see how well you can see this. I'm going to try to get it without. Can you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a copper leaf, and then there's gray drawing, and I'm going to explain what it's made out of. It looks like a machine puffing out smoke, and here's what I want to read. Rothwell has developed a practice that is both sculptural and two-dimensional, often using unique self-devised fabrication methods. Rothwell creates a fictional world, a geographical non-place, imagined but logical consequence. I'm sorry, let me get this right. Imagined but logical consequence of real-world actions. Rothwell uses a scientific focus to meditate on the follies of humanity, so that, as a whole, her work can be seen as a grand macro-analysis, a scrutiny of human activity and its effects. Despite the gravity of her interests, they are approached with humor, erudition, economy, and stylistic diversity. I didn't write that. And here's why the person wrote that. I'll show this again. She uses copper leaf, and you can see for size how this is. She uses copper leaf, and this is soot that she collects from exhausts pipes from cars. And Caroline is really interested, but it's an invented pollution machine out of
Wow.
gold leaf, out of copper leaf.
Yeah.
And she mixes the soot with an emulsion, and there's a whole process that you can read on her website. And what I really like about that is she's quite serious about addressing how we have colonized the plant world, the world, that, you know, that there's a lot to be said about control and power over what it is that we create, to the detriment often. And so while she's addressing some very serious issues, she has a way of engaging one, as you can see in, here's the next one.
Yeah.
And you know, this is not going to be as easy to see on this. You can see it though, I hope.
Oh yeah.
And then here's a third one. You know, the universality of all of this, of course, and her ability to create these kinds of images, which are relatively simple, but dealing with such complex stuff. And I think they're just terrific.
Yeah. How did you come to know her or her work?
Well, here's the great thing. And I want to say that what you're doing with these interviews is you're really helping to build community by doing this. You know, that this is your community. We are part of your community, and we're part of a greater community. So certainly this exemplifies that. In 2014, I had the great honor of being selected to go to Art Oh My, which is an international artist residency in Ghent, New York. It's a couple of hours north of New York City. And I was one of about 4 or 5 American artists, and there were about 25 artists from all over the world. So it was international. It was in New York, but most of the people were from somewhere else. Ranging from South Africa and Paris and Mongolia and, you know, Seoul and Frankfurt and everywhere, and it was extraordinary. I was there for about a month, and that's where I met Caroline, because she was there from Australia, and it was an amazing experience. And, you know, thinking about that in the context of what's going on now for everyone in the world, I'm particularly moved by all of that. And because I was able to secure this fellowship from the Charlotte Street Foundation to go to this, because they are the ones who do that for artists in this area.
Yeah,
So
they're great.
Yeah, it was really amazing.
Wow. Well, that's great. So do you have, do these 3 pieces hang in your home?
They do downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
They not in this room. I won't even tip this computer to show you what this room is like. This is you know, I call it an office, but there are a lot of people who probably wouldn't work in this room. I mean, you know, it just has a lot of my stuff, you know, and it's not neat.
Right.
It's just what I need it to be this way, and periodically I clean it up. But it's a little room that I can close the door, and, you know, nobody else has to come in here. Oh, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. Yep. I really am.
Well, yeah, her work strikes me as a really dynamic combination of, you know, a pretty serious subject matter or concept, you know, but it seems to be sort of playful too.
Right, it is. When you go to her website, and again, it's CarolynRothwell.net, and it's ROTHWELL, and I'll send you all the information. But she has projects where she has looked at plants, typically, you know, plants that typically grow in offices, and she's made work about that. So her scope is wide, but her interest very much so has oftentimes a scientific and nature interest. And certainly, you know, given my work, you certainly can see why I appreciate her willingness to be critical.
Yeah.
And to make commentary. Yeah, I really do, and she does.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that parallel.
Yeah. Do I have time for a costume change?
Anything. What's this hat now?
San Francisco. That was, the other one was Norway. This is San Francisco. And I'm wearing a ball cap because I'm having a bad hair day. And to be honest, I think these days when people say bad hair day, it means that I have not only not had a haircut, but I haven't had my hair colored either. So I'm having a bad hair day.
Oh boy. So, so lots of hats then, huh?
Oh, I've been planning. I have listen, I've watched some of these things on TV. I thought I need costume changes too. You know? So it's the least I can do.
Like the Diana Ross of the quarantine.
I wish. I think we're trying to be good humored, you and I, but we're both so aware of our own community here, community in Kansas City, and so many people, so many artists, but so many people who, there's just a lot of suffering going on right now, and I think we're all thinking about that a lot. And those of us who can, give something or share something or do something, I think we're all trying to do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that.
I really do. I mean, we have community groups right here in Lawrence that need our help.
Yeah, no doubt. And it is hard. And I hope that something like this kind of conversation that others can share in their own way can be helpful. Because I think one of the things that I hope comes out of seeing something like this is that people take an opportunity to see what they've surrounded themselves with in their own home, no matter where they're at or if they're an artist or not. Because I think it's really important to pay attention to the surroundings.
It is. And not only do I have a lot of personal regard for Caroline, but I also feel like, I look at her work every day because it's in a room where I am every day. And her interest in the world at large is ever present in her work and on my walls. And so I was also thinking in choosing to talk about her work, that we're hearing, at least I am among people who I regard and respect, have regard for and respect, that we're really facing some very serious issues with our climate. It's a worldwide, universal, and we know that, so maybe this pandemic will help us also gather those forces of cooperation so that we can address the other issues that we have to address as well. I had to say that. Well, because it's real, and it's and it has a relationship to Caroline's work.
Yeah, you're here.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, thank you. Well, hey, Judith, this has been great.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you for sharing the work and telling us about her and what it means to you. And I hope to see you really soon.
I hope so too. And take care of yourself, your family, and I send you my best as always. And I appreciate your asking me to do this.
You bet. All right.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.